Hello everyone, my name is Patrick Smith and I'm an instructor with Greater Toronto Music School, and this is part 3 of our 3-part beginner saxophone tutorial video course. If you enjoy the video, please go ahead and hit like, let us know what you think in the comments, and hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified in the future of more awesome uploads of educational music related material. Let's get into it. In part 2, we talked about how to get a sound on the instrument. We talked about our embouchure, rolling our top lip into our top teeth while keeping our top teeth on the mouthpiece, rolling our bottom lip over top of our bottom teeth so that it acts as a cushion between the reed and our teeth. We talked about being between a third of the way and halfway onto the mouthpiece for optimal tone production. And we talked about having good air support from the diaphragm to get a nice steady tone. Once again, I would like to remind our viewers that having your neck strap at the correct height is essential when playing the saxophone. If it is too low or too high, playing this instrument is going to be very hard. We want it to be set so that it is coming right up into our mouth without us having to reach for the mouthpiece, as I just demonstrated. Last time we also talked about playing hot cross buns like so. So hopefully you've been practicing that. Now, you might notice that didn't sound that great. There was something missing about it. And so how I want to start part 3 is talking about the wonderful concept known as tonguing. So on saxophone, except for a few very, very specific circumstances, we never start a note and we never start the beginning of a breath with just air. We start it by articulating the note. And how we do that is we tongue the reed. So, when I say tonguing, I literally mean this is the reed. This is your tongue. We want to go ta, 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 ta on the tip of the reed so that the beginning of the note is clear. So you can think of the syllable as ta, or you can think of it as da. It doesn't really matter which way, as long as you're doing it clearly. So if we play a note with just air, now let's try playing it with ta to start the note. Do you hear the difference? When I tongue the start of the note, there is a clear beginning to it. Let's try a couple tongues in one breath. That's sounding more like a saxophone. So, the basic concept is we are taking our tongue and lightly tapping it against just the underside of the tip of the reed, not right head on the tip, just on the underside, so that we get a clear start to the note. Now, a lot of students, I show this to them, and they come back the next lesson doing this. You're tonguing way too hard. Be careful. How I got that sound was by pressing the middle of my tongue up into the tip of the reed. We don't want that. We want right there. Just above the tip of the tongue, on just below the underside of the tip of the reed. It's very light. T-t-t-t-t or d-d-d-d-d. You follow? So, what I want you to do to practice that is to take our first 3 notes, and on each note, practice tonguing slowly, holding each note for 2 beats, like so. So that was B. was embarrassing, but it was a G. Forgive my one cack. I didn't take a big enough breath, and it jumped up to the higher note. You also will notice I'm not letting go of my air throughout the breath. I keep pushing. Remember, the tongue is just temporarily stopping the air. We don't want this. Where we're letting our diaphragm and air go between each tongue. No, we want a consistent stream of notes with our tongue temporarily interrupting the sound to articulate the next note. Do not let your air go between tongue notes. So that's a useful exercise to get into practice tonguing. Now, of course, when we get into actually playing the saxophone, you'll notice I'm not tonguing every note there. You want to tongue at the beginning of each breath, and then depending on the phrase of music you're playing, you either slur, which is when you switch to the next note without tonguing, or you tongue it. Your teacher and further education will help you know when to tongue every note and when to slur certain notes. But for now, I want you to practice tonguing that B, A, and G slowly and clearly, working on getting a nice clear start to the note. That is tonguing. We're now going to move on to learning the G major scale. This is going to take us to new note territory. We have to learn 4, 5, depending on how you count it, new notes to play this scale. So, this is what the G major scale sounds like. It is a basic major scale, the building blocks of Western music. It goes from low G to high G, and there are 7 notes in between. So the notes are as follows. You might want to get a pencil to write this down. I'm going to say it twice. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, high G. Let's say it again. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, high G. You can rewind that if you didn't get it in those 2 repetitions. So the line of notes I just told you is what it looks like going up the scale. So you're reading left to right going up the scale. When you go down the scale like this, you're reading from the right to the left of the letters, from high G back down to the first G, which is in the lower octave. So, the first 3 notes you will already know from part 2. G, A, B. So now let's learn the next 4 notes. The next note in the scale is C. The fingering for C is just the middle finger in the left hand. So similar to A, but we lift off our index finger so that just our middle finger is down. So let's try the first 4 notes of this scale. G, A, B, C. So that's C. A little strange because it's just the middle one, but you'll get used to it. Next, we get into the second octave. Now, this is very important to remember. Once you get higher than this C, which we call middle C on the saxophone, you need to press down the octave key. So the octave key is this key right here, and it's activated by your left thumb. So if you look at your saxophone at the back, your left thumb to the right or above the black resting pad, you'll find the octave key. And this helps our notes jump into the high register. So the next 4 notes, the top 4 notes of the G major scale, you need the octave key down. All right. So, the next note is D. And it's the high D. So, high D looks like this. We have 1, 2, 3 down in the left hand as if we were playing G. And then in the right hand, we put down our first 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring, on the 3 pearled right hand keys. 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3 in the left hand, 1, 2, 3 in the right hand. In addition to our new friend, the octave key. So, to get this note, you're going to need to blow nice and open and keep your throat relaxed. That should be the D. It might take you a few tries to get it, but stay relaxed and you will get it. Remember the octave key. So, let's continue. Let's just try to play G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's be mindful of the switch from C to D. It can be a little hard. You might want to take a breath there so that you can press the rest of your fingers down. It's a big switch. That brings us to D. I'm going to show you the last 3 notes in one go. So, all these final 3 notes, the E, the F sharp, and the high G, need the octave key down. From D, we want to go to E. This is a very simple switch, folks. Take off your ring finger on the right hand, and you will get E. So with D, we have 1, 2, 3 in the left hand, 1, 2, 3 on the right hand. Take off your ring finger, and you will get E. So let's go from D to E and see what that sounds like. D, E. To get from E to F sharp is a little weird. Here's our E, which we just learned. 1, 2, 3 in the left hand, 1, 2 in the right hand is E. To get to F sharp, we keep our left hand down and lift off our right hand index finger so that just the middle finger on the right hand is down. So let's try that. Let's go from E to F sharp. E, F sharp. And that brings us to the final note, which is high G. This is a very simple fingering. It is the same as low G, 1, 2, 3 in the left hand, but with the octave key. So remember to keep that octave key down. So before we play the whole scale ascending, let's just play the top 4 notes that we just learned. So we're going to go high D, high E, high F sharp, high G, in that order. So we start like this and go D, E, F sharp, G. Let's try it. Awesome. So those are our top 4 notes. Now let's try combining the 2 parts of the scale. So if you remember the first part, G, A, B, and our new note, C, which looks like that. Then we put the octave key down and switch to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in both hands and go D, E, F sharp, G. To make this easy, I'm going to insert a breath in between the 2 parts of the scale. Check it out. And that's our ascending G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. To get the descending portion, we just step back down the scale, read left on the line of notes you wrote out. From the top down, it will sound like this. So the whole thing, ascending and descending, will sound like this. And as you can see, I'm starting with a tongue and then slurring throughout the breath. And there you have it, the G major scale. This concludes our 3-part beginner saxophone tutorial. If you practice the concepts talked about in these videos, you'll be well prepared for your first saxophone lesson with your new teacher. Once again, I've been Patrick Smith from Greater Toronto Music School. If you like the video, hit like, let us know what you think in the comments, hit subscribe so that you know when we have more content coming out. And if you really enjoy the video, contact Greater Toronto Music School and sign up for music lessons today. They're a blast. Thanks, everyone.